Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadankitam. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyasya cha Krupa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vandavaneshwari Vrishabhanustate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh, sorry, we're doing 37, right? 1837. Etad agre visham eva pariname amrutopamam tatsukam satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Anyone wants to recite? You hear me, Matajis? I don't know.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah, anyone wants to recite? Nobody wants to?
1 second, Mataji.
Yeah. I'll read in the meantime. Translation by Divya Srila Prabhupada. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. You ready, Prabhu?
Shall I read? Translation, Mataji?
You can read the purport.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink the real nectar and he enjoys life. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So in this section, what we are trying to understand is that how these modes, 3 modes, are controlling all the activities of living beings. Further in the previous verses, how the modes are instigating some kind of desires into us like that, and then how we are taking actions, and then how the knowledge in 3 modes are working, how karma in 3 modes are happening, how karta means who is acting like that, and then how intelligence is working in 3 modes, that and all we were discussing. And now in this verse, it's a part of the verse where how determination going to affect the 3 modes like that, especially in terms of mode of goodness in the pursuit of self-realization. What happens, if someone follows for rules and regulations to control their senses and to concentrate on their mind for this process of self-realization, is very difficult. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. It looks like a bitter in the poison. But if you continuously follow these regulatory principles, like how we were doing and how you only eat whatever offered to the Lord, bhoga, and that you don't, the prasad which is offered, bhoga which is offered, and then the prasad which you partake, the remnants of the Lord, and you don't incur any sin. Otherwise, Krishna said in 3rd chapter, you're verily eating sin, which Krishna has provided all the facilities, all the things, everything, and then you just, take it, and then that's it. You don't even bother to express your gratitude. Then you're like a person who is stealing. So you're no less than a thief. So if you're trying to do all that, beginning it is hard. But as and when you continue to do it, you realize the value of it, and then you will appreciate, okay, and then you start teaching others also. So that is what is this verse says. At the beginning, it's like a poison, but end, it's like a nectar. And then this will awaken our self-realization. And that is leading us to the happiness, satisfaction. So using our intelligence, we can be able to be like that. So it is like a poison in the beginning and nectar in the end. Rules and regulations are like that, but successfully follow awakening. So we have certain examples like, this Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is what we do it on a day-to-day basis. That's what we are practicing devotees we do. And according to the Guru's order or according to the vows we take when we are taking initiation, things like that. So what is that minimum? At least we take a vow of, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, eat only Krishna Prasad, no eating eggs or meat or fish or, like that. No tea, coffee also, we promise. And then we chant minimum 16 rounds every day. If possible, you can chant more, but at least 16 rounds every day on the Japamala, like that. So that looks so hard. Like if you go to a new person and start telling these kind of things, they'll run away. They never participate in Krishna conscious activities. So what do we do to them? We just give them the Krishna Prasad first. Just let them satisfy, their stomach is satisfied and the tongue is controlled, and then slowly other senses will come into action. So chanting, hearing, all that will come later. But following chanting 16 rounds is like a very difficult task at the beginning. First, even if people know how they would do, that's what they will be wondering. Like you and me may agree, like if a family member is there, it's hard to preach to them because they know in and out of our activities which we do in Krishna consciousness. And that makes them feel very hard. My God, how do they do this? And how do they don't eat anywhere, even outside restaurants? And how do they follow Ekadashi? It is so minimal like that, and it's too much. Better not to, listen, or, they just don't do that. Yeah. So that is hard, studying, discussing Srila Prabhupada books on a regular basis, and then taking association of the devotees and trying to, learn. So much is there in our Krishna conscious life. There is time, 24 hours is limited, like that. Yeah. So this, as and when you do, it keeps on increasing your activities, and that is you're actually enjoying. Initially, if some people ask you to chant one round on the bead also, it will be hard for you. Even one time, two time also hard for you. But once you start doing it, you release 16 rounds, you feel like, you get taste for chanting, and you may do more extra on during occasionally on a festivals or an Ekadashi, or, stick to only what you're prescribed to do, and rest you don't feel like you're torturing yourself actually. That is what it is, nectar, you feel like later. Initially it feels, if someone asks also, you feel, oh, maybe it is what I am, or am I forcing myself, am I not enjoying, or am I suffering, like that you think. But later when you do with these restrictions, you feel others are suffering, you are not suffering, actually you are enjoying. That is nectar, you feel like that, the taste will come and you feel. And then anything unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, you start rejecting, which was actually poison to you in the beginning. You start rejecting, like maybe watching movies, going to restaurants, or wasting time on mundane activities. That all becomes like, initially it is poison to reject, but later it becomes very pleasing. All favorable activities only you will accept, whatever pleasing to Krishna you do. And then you try to keep always your mind and senses always observed in relation to Krishna only, nothing else. So if you want to watch a movie, you will watch something related to, Krishna conscious, maybe Little Krishna or something else, whatever is giving you awareness about Krishna conscious, somebody's life biography or some dramas, that and all you do, which is going to actually give you some impetus to continue in Krishna consciousness rather than dragged away or surrendered to Maya. So that is what it is mentioned. Initially, it is poison, later it is nectar, and you enjoy life. So, mode of goodness, this is what one is supposed to experience. To the next one, 38. Vishendriya samyogadya tat agrim amrutopamam pariname visham eva tatsukam rajasam samsrutam. Sorry, not rajasam. Anyone want to recite?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Can I read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Vishendriya samyogam yatadendriya
Yatat agre amrutopamam.
Dyatyad agre amrutopamam pariname vishamiva tatsukam rajasam smrutam. Translation. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end is said to be of the nature of passion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A young man and young woman meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her and have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end or after some time, it becomes just like poison. They are separated, or there is a divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion. Happiness derived from a combination of the senses and the sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, what is this verse is talking about is that it's actually the earlier verse was Sukham in goodness. Now, this is happiness in passion. How happiness in passion we are experiencing. So, this happiness which is derived in contact with the senses, which is pleasing initially, like that. It appears a nectar initially, and then later it will become as a poison, opposite to what you experience in happiness in goodness. Yeah. So example of Prabhupada is mentioned here, that how a woman and man, they have a relationship and then it's all good, but it is very pleasing in the beginning, but now later, you see lots of problems in this material world nowadays. No marriages are lasting for long. If it lasts for 10 years, it's a success. The earlier people used to celebrate silver jubilee, golden jubilee. Nowadays, a decade jubilee, they will do it. Only a decade is something which is a great achievement. Yeah. So then it's so many problems in this material world, and then they cannot, the viewpoints are different. They're according to the, changes in their stages in life, their priorities change, and then they may not be able to cope with the priorities, and then they can't really, what do you say that, compromise. And then, especially when it comes to women, working outside, and then men also, then when children come into picture, then no time to be given, personal time, attention is very less to give, and then lack of that, social life or family life is leading into lamentations, sorrows, and separations. This and all, we are seeing it. We all agree with, oh, I hope so. That is what it is, because no one is willing to compromise or willing to think about others' welfare. We are all, entangled with our own selfish desires. And then when it comes to family also, we see lots of problems like that. Unless someone keep Krishna in the center, even in Krishna conscious families, we are, seeing a lot of people facing troubles, because as you see, our Krishna conscious movement is supported more than 95% or almost 99% Gruhastas. So it's very hard, challenging life to handle family, and also at the same time, look after your needs, and also keep Krishna in the center, and then support the community, Krishna conscious community, especially Grihasthas are meant to support sannyasis, meant to support brahmacharis. So then who else is left out? So you have to do everything by yourself, children and yourself, and support temple, so many activities. It's a very demanding position being in Grihastha. But according to Srila Prabhupada, he is very pleased and he appreciated Grihasthas did a great job, tremendous job to establish Krishna conscious temples initially. They only worked hard to do it. So the reason is that, if you divert that passion to goodness, and then beyond goodness of, that is pure goodness, which is in keeping Krishna in the center and trying to understand that each and every person in your family is actually a servant of the Lord. With the philosophy which we hear and read, if we apply that, every moment you come across some problems, some situations which are not able to overcome, think about Krishna is there with us, always is there, watching us, witnessing us, whatever we are doing, like two birds on a tree. One bird is watching, one bird is enjoying the fruits. We are the other bird, second bird, enjoying our own, whatever misdeeds, whatever we have done or future, we are doing it, and the super soul is watching us. So Paramatma sitting in our heart. So if you think about that, all our family members are not our family members. They don't belong to us. They're not a property of us. They're property of Krishna. If you think and then divert that attention, okay, they belong to Krishna, so we equally serve them, and then prioritize some priorities you may have to compromise, and then, try to make sure, some common understanding is there, then that is not in passion. But as long as you are in trying to seek happiness in passion, then that is actually, connecting to this, our bonding or bondage in this material world with all these relationships which you are having, called relationships with the family members, with the extended family, relatives, friends, society. This is all, the connection with our senses and sense objects that is causing distress. That should be avoided by all means. That's what Prabhupada is giving in the purport. Unless happiness in mode of goodness, which only appears as if it was poison in the beginning, happiness in the passion actually looks not poison, nectar in the beginning. But then, whatever looked poison in the beginning turned to a nectar. Now poison, nectar in the beginning will turn to poison. So like that, we have increasing number of desires, everything, so our we need to make sure that our consciousness is fixed on the Lord. Otherwise it will bind us to further into different births and future entanglement keeps on going. So yeah, that is what it is. This words krodha bhavati sammoha mriti smriti bramshanatha. That verse is there now in second chapter 2.62. What happens? Not fulfilled, then you will be totally Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsa Sangatyaya Tejopajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Krodha Vijayate. So like that, in contemplating the sense objects, once developed attachment. And then from that attachment, lust develops. From that lust, anger arises. Then Krodha Bhavati Sammoha. Sammoha Smriti Vibhrama. Smriti Bramshat Buddhinashat Pranashyati. So like that, this is what, bewilderment of memory, loss of intelligence, and then you will fall down. Like that, you will glide down to this hell again, material world again, with uncontrolled senses. Because we are attached to our mind and our false desires, all that. That is what happiness in passion will lead to if you continue to be like that. We'll go to 39. Yedagre chanubhande cha sukham moham atmanah nidralasya pramodatham tathamasa udartam. Anyone wants
Hare
to
Krishna. Hare
Mataji?
Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam. Yadagre chanubande cha sukham mohanam nidralasya pramadotam tattamasamudaratam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be in the mode of ignorance, is the nature of ignorance. Purport. One who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mode of darkness, ignorance, and one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in the mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness either in the beginning or at the end. for the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning and at the end distress. But for the person in the mode of ignorance, there is only distress both in the beginning and at the end. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. So this is actually happiness in ignorance talking about. And then, this happiness is something which is where they're blind to self-realization, not at all interested in understanding the self, who we are. We are the body, we are not the body, we are the soul. That particular thing only they're not interested. They're completely in delusion from the beginning to the end, fully in illusion. Like they are, they are very lazy. And that is what, they are actually whatever people are in passion are thinking. These people in mode of ignorance they are in and trying to be happy, they're daydreaming. Everything has to be done in the action taken in the mode of passion. These people in the mode of ignorance, they are actually in that sleep mode. That means sleep mode means they are daydreaming about what can be done, but they don't do it. You might have seen some people, they sit and plan. They don't execute. They just plan only. Keep on telling, okay, tomorrow morning I am going to get up early in the morning and do it. No, early in the morning. Again, this will keep on going on. Not tomorrow, I'll do not today, tomorrow. They keep on going like that. They never implement it actually. That means they're not serious enough. They're lazy. They don't want to endeavor. That itself is hard for them. So they are having pleasure in that only, not putting any efforts. Like if you ask children to do homework, they keep on postponing. I do it in another 10 minutes, I do in another 1 hour, I do this one, I do that one, like that. If they ask something else, watch TV, immediately, no need to tell us, they'll go and do it. TV or some video game or some playing and wasting time, that they will do it without asking. But these kind of things which needs an effort, no one is interested actually. And lack of attention span is there nowadays, like that. So everyone, not only children, we have like that, who wants to, if we have put some project of, doing something, maybe learning is verse a day. How many of us will do it? We'll keep on postponing, okay, how online I do, tomorrow I do, I am not getting time to hear, I'm not getting time to read. We keep giving excuses, but don't put. So this one who takes pleasure in laziness and sleep, they are in mode of darkness and ignorance, and they have no idea, like the Prabhupada saying, how to act, when to act, and what to do. They're totally like that. Everything is illusion to them. So that is, there is no happiness in the beginning or at the end, like that. So whatever happiness, there for a person in the mode of passion, little bit happiness they may experience, tinge of happiness in the beginning, and the end they feel distress. But person in the mode of ignorance is totally everything is distress only, beginning to the end, because there's nothing happening. They're thinking they're doing it in the sleep mode. When they get up, nothing happened. Everything is like that only, like that. So they just, they're in that in the unfortunate time, consciousness of laziness, illusion, intoxication, all that. So when we go to 40 is actually going to summarize all three. 37, 38, 39. So we'll read that. Natat asti prithviyam va prithvivyam va divi dvesho va punaha sattvam prakriti jair muktam yad ebihi syat tribhir gunai. Who wants to read? Sindhu Mataji want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Can I read?
Yes, please.
18.40. न तद् अस्ति पृथिव्यां च दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः सत्त्वं प्रकृतिजैर्मुक्तं यद् इति स्यात् त्रिभिर्गुणैः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. Purport: the Lord here summarizes the total influence of the three modes of material nature all over the universe.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So what this verse is saying is that no one is happy in this earthly planet or in the higher planet or in the lower planet. We have 7 planetary systems above, below. So everywhere, no one, either on here or demigods, higher planetary systems or other living entities, no one is freed from these 3 modes of material nature. Everyone is entangled. So the whole universe is being, this Maya Shakti is being, we're all entangled with this, because there's no freedom from these modes of material nature. We are all working with this. So here Krishna includes all of us. All the 3 gunas are affecting, and mode of goodness should be accepted, because those who are in mode of goodness, they alone are useful. I mean, they are the ones who can able to little bit progress. And then mode of or we have to accept something which is always in the mode of goodness. Something which is in mode of ignorance and passion should be rejected. So because otherwise, as long as we are doing it, we will be entangled. So what he is telling is the 3 modes of material nature all over the universe is being present, and we cannot escape it. And the only way that living entity, all of us, will be successful to do is when we experience that our purpose of our life is to become a servant of the Lord. That is our constitutional position. Conditional position is that we are loading our material nature and we want to be a master like that. But the constitutional position is that we are not the master, we are servant of the master, and then we want to become that servant of that master. And that way we will want, what we want to do is everything for the pleasure of the Lord we want to do. That is understanding that Samsiddhi Haritoshana. That is successfully by worshipping the Supreme Lord by prescribed duties according to one's own nature. We have to do it. That is what is going to be discussed in next few verses. Like that, according to our nature, we should act, and according to our varna and ashram, we should execute our duties. And that will be pleasing to Krishna. That will lead us to get rid of this entanglement from these 3 modes of material nature. So how to purify and how to perform those duties will be discussed in these verses further. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhaktani Swabhava Prabhaver Guner. Anna Devi Mataji, will you ready?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danda Pranams Mataji. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhaktani Swabhava Prabhavair Gunaihi. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes. Both chastised of training. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So here it is very clear, right? That Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra are the 4 orders of the social orders we have got. And then those all 4 orders are distinguished between according to their qualities they're born. So what qualities they are, what natures they have, according to the 3 modes, they'll be getting different natures. And then accordingly they should start executing according to the natures only. They should work like that. 4 social orders are their varnas and their qualities. We'll discuss 41 verses like that. One varna will be discussing. Samodhamo tapashautam shantirarjameva cha jnanam vijnanas astikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. So this is the qualities of Brahmanas. Who wants to recite? Anyone didn't do so far? Mata Prabhu, you want to recite, Prabhu?
So may Mataji?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shamo Damastapa Kshautam Shantirarjavameva cha Jnanam Vijnana Astikyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam.
Yeah, these are all qualities.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So what is it, Krishna is explaining the qualities of the work of all this, how the Brahmanas should be work. They should cultivate all these qualities and they should actually, work for in those lines. And then the main thing is to teach these qualities also, teach everything. So in the Varnashrama system, one should act according to this Brahmanas should act according to the modes they have inherited, and then in a regulated way, they should, in a regulated service to the Lord, they should, as and when one progresses in their acts in a dutiful way, and that is also in a detached way if they work, and they will get elevated through these three modes, and then they get qualified to completely, cultivate this knowledge, and then whatever knowledge they cultivated, they'll share also. Brahmanas should be, accepting charities, giving charities, and also learning, and then teaching, and then worshipping the deities, teaching others how to worship deities. This is all the qualities of Brahmanas. They should do it. And these are of, peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance. These are all the qualities should be practiced. And this is actually, this practice sometimes it is not just inherent with a person, not all the time actually. Just because you take a birth in a Brahmana family, sometimes no, you don't see these qualities at all. That's why, we have Prabhupada has created an institution where we actually practice all these qualities to be called as a Brahmana. And then we'll execute those activities according to the, in a regulated way, perform the service to Krishna. Then these qualities naturally we can get, and then we will cross beyond these modes of material nature, like that, three modes. And then from mode of goodness to, we will be going to Shuddha Sattva platform, that is pure goodness, like that. Yeah. So these qualities are must in Brahmana. They should not, get agitated. They should be honest. They should have knowledge, religiousness, tolerance, peacefulness, all that. Go to the next one. Want to recite, Mataji?
Recite Mataji.
Yeah, you recite, Mataji.
Shauryam tejo dhritya yuddhe chapi apala Ishvara bhascha. Sorry, Dhanam Ishvara Bhavascha Shatram Shatavajam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Heroic power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Thank you, Mataji.
So here Kshatriya's qualities are described, and then these Kshatriya qualities are mainly heroism, determination, courage, generosity. All these are there, qualities of the Kshatriya. And these qualities of the Kshatriyas are predominantly in the mode of passion. Like Brahmanas, all the qualities are predominantly or in Sattva Guna, mode of goodness. The Kshatriyas, all the qualities are predominantly mode of passion. With a tinge of Sattva is there, but it's a secondary mode. But predominant is Rajoguna, that is mode of passion. And that's their nature, that's their quality, and they are supposed to. Like, for example, when Arjuna said in the Kurukshetra, battlefield of Kurukshetra in the beginning, that he want to withdraw. I don't want to fight. That's the end of the chapter 1, which is say, okay, he will put the Gandiva bow down, and he don't want to participate in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In fact, he says, I would rather go to forest and beg and leave, not to, kill my cousins, relatives, friends, and everybody. And then whom I am going to enjoy with if I get this, all this we have gone through, right? We heard. And then Krishna denies that. You go to the forest, and it's not your duty. You are a Kshatriya. You have meant to do fight. Kshatriya is meant to supposed to fight. Now you go to the forest and beg. what happens even if you go to the forest and beg, sometimes if you may come across some kind of, atrocities or anything, your nature, you will not live like that. No, you don't think you are a Brahmana in that position. What you will do is you interfere and you will try to resolve the problem. So that is by nature you are a Kshatriya, you have to do your duty. So you cannot be in a Brahmana like that. So whatever nature, whatever social order you are in, according to the qualities, dutifully you should do justice to that social order rather than rejecting and neglecting and trying to ignore and run away like that. Yeah. So these are the, heroism, power, determination. These are all qualities of people. Kshatriyas, and then they are dominated by mode of passion. Little bit of more goodness is there. Mostly they are in mode of passion. Yeah. Who wants to recite this?
Yeah, can I read Mataji after you, please?
Yeah. Rishi Gorakshya Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Sudra Yashyapi Swabhavajam.
Hare Krishna. Krishiko Rakshavanijyam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam Parikaryatmakam Karma Paricharyatmakam Karma Shudra Yasyapi Swabhavajam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Farming, cow protection, and businesses are the natural work for the Vaishyas. And for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. So now here Vaishyas, they are predominantly in a mode of passion, Rajaguna, with Tama is there as a secondary. Tama is ignorance. So mode of passion and a little bit of ignorance, tinge of ignorance is there in this qualities of Shudras, Vaishyas. So they're supposed to protect cows and do farming, do the business. So in the business, they are in the mode of passion, and they are allowed to do, like, let's say if someone is doing a business, if they get the material or some product for some price, they are allowed to sell little another price to make some profit, and they're allowed to say some, as per their duty, so allowed to say, what is that? Whatever, not the actual price. They may say the more for it also. That is not something you're cheating. It's actually allowed to do like that because they are actually doing business and they're meant to work like that. So okay to do like that. So there are passion is there predominantly, but with the ignorance, mode of ignorance is a secondary mode. In Kshatriyas, predominantly they are in the mode of passion, but little bit of Sattva Guna is there. But in Vaishyas, they are predominantly by mode of passion, and little bit of Tama Guna is there. Yeah? And then here Shudras, they are labor and they do service to others. They are completely predominantly in the mode of ignorance, but they have little bit tinge of mode of passion, like that. So this is something we have to understand from these verses. We see from examples like, in the mode of goodness, we see Sudama Brahmana. So though he was a Brahmana, he actually is a friends with Krishna. And then, Krishna is coming from a Vaishya background, but he's been, in his position like that only all the time. And then, we talked about Arjuna in the Kshatriya role. And then now in Vaishya, so we see Nanda Maharaj, how he's been looking after farming, cows, so many 9 lakh cows are there, cow protection is doing, and he is doing his other household work, household thing to run. He was in that Vaishya category like that. Yeah. And then nowadays, we always are classified as Shudras because we work for others. Whatever we do is to earn money. Unless and someone is actually doing their own business and they give work for others, we're all Shudras. And then people who have business also, they'll work for their clients also. That is also there. So material world, more or less all of us are Shudras only. So we need to get to the platform of goodness and go beyond mode of goodness, which is Sattva, and try to be successful getting away from all 3 modes by worshipping the Supreme Lord, keeping him only as a center of our life and do prescribed duties according to our nature. That's what is important. So let us go to that is discussed in this verse mainly. So स्वी स्वी कर्मणे अभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः स्वकर्मा निरतः सिद्धिं यथा विदन्ति चक्षृणु. Wants to recite? Anyone? Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
स्वे स्वे कर्माणि अभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः स्वकर्मा निरतः सिद्धिं यथा विन्दति चक्षुणु. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. By following these qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is telling here that, we have to do some prescribed activities. Every man has to do to become perfect. And those prescribed activities are like, he's telling, please hear from me. What is the prescribed activities? Engaging our in the activities according to our varna and ashrama. Then you will find, that jnana, performing that in steadiness in jnana. That means whatever we have so far in trying to gain knowledge reading Bhagavad Gita, we'll attain a little bit perfection in that. And that is, when we try to perform, then only we will be able to realize it. How can our actions will lead to bondage, cause of the bondage, that and all, like that we will understand. That will, whatever action we do, what reaction we are going to get. At least that kind of sense perception we will get to. And then from there, that will lead to steadiness in our understanding of knowledge. And then that is actually cause of our liberation. So from this bondage, little bit of that understanding we will try to do, and Lord will explain that, how that particular intelligence will come to action in action with us. So what is that? Whatever we do, this attaining steadiness in our sadhana or steadiness in acquiring knowledge, this will come performing within some activities, and with that only we will be able to continue. Like that. We'll see, because we don't have we'll read the next verse and then we'll understand. Yeah. Like, for example, a simple example to put it is like, let's say we have, we all, if you have seen or not, but the lotus flower is actually grown in a flower rice. The root is coming from mud, but lotus flower never gets contaminated, though it isn't coming from the mud. Like that, though we are in this material world, when we are just trying to, understand the qualities of the work or our qualities according to our nature, and then, we want to be perfect in the art, though we are in this contaminated material world, entangled by these three modes of material nature, we will not be disturbed or will not be contaminated by that. We will try to understand. So we'll go through this verse. So this verse will give some more explanation of that.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I read?
Yes, read.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Text number 46. Yataha pravriti bhurtanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyachya siddhi vindati manavaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading of men, can attain perfection through performing his own work. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanwad Pranam. Thank you.
Yeah. Who wants to read the purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please may I?
Yes, yeah.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the 15th chapter, all living beings are fragmental parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Supreme Lord is the beginning of all living entities. This is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Asya Yatha. The Supreme Lord is therefore the beginning of life of every living entity. And as stated in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord, by his two energies, his external energy and internal energy, is all-pervading. Therefore, one should worship the Supreme Lord with his energies. Generally, the Vaishnava devotees worship the Supreme Lord with his internal energy. His external energy is a perverted reflection of the internal energy. The external energy is a background, but the Supreme Lord by the expansion of his plenary portion as Paramatma is situated everywhere. He is the supersoul of all demigods, all human beings, all animals, everywhere. One should therefore know that as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one has his duty to render service unto the Supreme. Everyone should be engaged in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness. This is recommended in this verse. Everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesh, the master of the senses, and by the result of the work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. If one thinks always in this way, in full Krishna consciousness, then, by the grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. This is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 12.7, Tesham aham samudharta. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. That is the highest perfection of life. In whatever occupation one may be engaged, if he serves the Supreme Lord, he will achieve the highest perfection. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here Prabhupada is elaborating on, how one should do one's own work. Although we are in this within three modes of material nature, and then we can practically tune everything into bhakti. That means going from nishkama karma to bhakti, sakama karma, like that. Sakama karma to nishkama karma. Sorry. So like that. Yeah. Everyone should be engaged in the one particular type of occupation. And then that particular type of occupation is something which is pleasing to whatever is being we are engaged in a particular type of action or occupation by the Lord Rishikesha, master of the senses. One should perform like that, and then the result of that is one should be engaged in that particular occupation, and then we are offering those results to Krishna like that. So the main thing is how is that work should be done. Worshiping should be done. So worship should be done as like we are all the jivas, and then whatever activities we perform, we do it as an offering to Krishna, and then we perform in such way, in that way, by thinking that that I am the part and parcel of the Lord, like how Krishna, in the purport Prabhupada is telling, in the we are part and parcels of the Lord, and then Supreme Lord is the beginning, is there, and in Bhagavatam Canto also, Canto 1, so Janmadasya Yataha. So Supreme Lord is the beginning of everything. And then we are just, part and parcel, tiny part and parcel, Anu, just a little bit part and parcel of the Lord, spark of the Lord, like that. And then he has got two energies, external, internal, all pervading. And then, we should worship the Supreme Lord, considering all his energies, like in 7th chapter, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, we've been going through this, how the energies of the Lord are there pervading in this entire universe, not only in this, every other whole complete Brahmanda. So if you separate Lord from these energies, then you feel all the energies of the Lord are not potent, but that is not what we have learned. Everywhere in sunlight, moonlight, in fire, in everything, we are seeing the Lord's existence, and that is what we are trying to accept. Everything is coming from Krishna only, internal and external energies. And then as a practicing devotees, we should worship Supreme Lord with his internal energy. So external energy, this material world, is the manifestation, is a reflection of the internal energy of the Lord. So like that, this is just Supreme Lord's expansion, his plenary expansion of the expansion of the expansion is what is manifesting all the universes. And then, Paramatma is there, Garbhodakshaya, Karanodakshaya, Garbhodakshaya, and Shirodakshaya, Vishnu, like that. Three Purushavasaras are there. And then Paramatma is sitting as a Shirodakshaya, Vishnu in all of us, all living entities. So super soul is there in demigods, super soul is there in human beings, is there in animals, like that. Like that, we should consider that we are part and parcel of the Lord. And then we should do our duty to the Lord. That is rendering service to the Supreme. So everyone should be engaged in devotional service. That is recommended, actually. So why that is recommended? That's what it is, source of all happiness, because Krishna is a source of cause of all causes. He's all pervading. One man can attain perfection only performing his work like that. So worshipping Krishna by one's prescribed work and offering it to him, while working with one's mind that thinking that, I'm doing this only to please the Lord, like that. And that way they'll attain perfection. So whatever we do, we are trying to, make some money, no problem. You'll do your work because you have to maintain your family, but part of it, you offer it to Krishna. And then, when householders, like, if they are involved in cooking, they have to do that to serve the family, right? And the cooking, whenever you're buying things, you just make sure the best you are getting it, the best, not compromising anything in that. So get the best quality of the ingredients to cook and then offer it to the Lord, and then Lord will be pleased with your offerings, and then you get the remnants, you eat prasad. So there's no sin involved in it, and it's all scantified. That way everything is purified, and that activity will, whatever ashram you are in, it will purify your consciousness, and it will help you to further progress in Krishna conscious activities, like that. So never compromise in whatever we are offering it to the Lord, actually. Not even one, this is what Prabhupada taught to everyone of us, like that. To the best of the best has to be offered to the Lord. Even, in terms of the flowers, or, ingredients you are offering, or, even if you're trying to give some donation also, don't think that, keep 100 in your pocket and give $5 or 5 rupees. Krishna knows how much you are hiding. So you do according to your capacity, even contribution to the, any activities for the worship of the Lord. Just don't do miserly. According to your capacity, according to the ability, according to your skills, you should execute, and you should use it everything 100% in Krishna's service. Then you will be relieved from all this. Now that way you should engage, and that result of the work you should offer. That should be the way of worship. If one thinks in that way, following Krishna consciousness, one will get Lord's grace. That is perfection of life. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesam aham samudharta, mrityu samsara sagara. So he himself personally comes to protect the devotees who are practicing like this, or he will send his representatives to protect. We have got examples like that also. When the devotees like Draupadi was under too much tribulations or difficulties, troubles, she took the name of the Lord, and Lord came. When in the Vastraharan time, in a Maya's Atat Sabha, in front of everybody in the assembly, Krishna protected her when she called out for Krishna, crying and calling out to Krishna. Krishna immediately appeared and did the needful to protect her. And then another part is when, when Durvasa Muni was, came to Pandava's hermitage, which was actually, first he went to Duryodhana, and then there Duryodhana fed him some sumptuous prasad, and then Durvasa Muni was pleased. And then he asked him for a boon, and then he says, "Okay, why don't you go to Pandavas? They are in Vanavas. You just go." And then also, similarly, Duryodhana gets to know that Pandavas are actually able to do all the duties as it is how they were doing in the kingdom, because he knows that they got a nice blessed pot from sun god, and they are feeding brahmanas, they are doing everything, they are not starving, they're happily there in their in the forest. And then Duryodhana asks, why don't you go to them, and similarly ask ask them to feed. So this is the challenge. I mean, this is what he wants to see and planned do, what they will do, like that he want to see. And Durvasa Muni agreed, and then because this is the boon he asked, and he accepted, he gave the boon, and then he went to Pandavas. And then when he went to Pandavas, that's when, actually, the Sakshya Patra is there, but Draupadi finished eating. After Draupadi finished eating, that's a condition applied to that particular pot when they got from sun god. Draupadi finished eating, then no more prasad will be there. So manifestation of prasad will be there. Then Draupadi was totally into tears. She can't do anything now. She can't feed Durvasa Muni. But Duryodhana also asked, when he asked Durvasa Muni boon, he said, you should go and ask them to feed, and also you should never forget, take all 10,000 disciples of yours. So he took 10,000 disciples also along with him. 10,000 disciples, Durvasa, how they are going to feed? Draupadi was in tears, and she remembered immediately Krishna, and she prayed to Krishna. In the meantime, Durvasa Muni went to do his, with his disciples, wants to do his morning duties. He went to river and then said, we'll come back like that. By the time I come back, make all the arrangements. And then that's what happened. And then Draupadi prayed to Krishna. He came. And then Krishna asked to offer her the pot and this Akshay Patra. And she says, there's nothing here. Everything is finished. I ate. I cleaned the pot. It's still he asks her to bring. He instructs her to bring. He brings, and then, she brings, sorry, and then Krishna sees there is a grain of morsel, and then the little bit scraps of vegetable, he says, just eat that. And then immediately Durvasa Muni, all the 10,000 disciples are feeling so full. And they feel as if they are up to the neck. And they are actually feeling, how am we are going to supposed to go to now Pandavas and have a meal? We are not in a situation to have their burping, and they're really in a very difficult situation. And they really wanted to run away from that place before anybody comes and calls them out. They just ran away, hitar and titar, everywhere they're running. And then Sahadev came, Yudhishthira Maharaj sent Sahadev. And then he came, and then he saw there's nothing there. All the pots are there, and then some clothes are left on the nearby river. And then you don't see any of these people, Durvasa Muni or 10,000 disciples. And then he goes to the ashram and he says to Yudhishthira Maharaj, I can't see anybody. Then Krishna smiled. He says, they are full now because Krishna had. And then that made them complete satisfied. They didn't want to eat any meal. And in fact, they were afraid if you go there and don't eat, if they prepare so much meal, what will happen? We ask them to prepare and then we are not able to eat. So like that, why I'm sharing this is Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesamaham Samudhata. So that means he himself come and protect the devotees, or he will send his representatives. There are many examples. Durvasa Muni example only. When Ambarish Maharaj was, about to break his fast, Ekadashi Vrat, Durvasa Muni has, says he will go and finish his morning oblations, come back. He was not able to wait and not able to, and he took some water. It's as good as, breaking and not breaking the fast. And then we all know how Durvasa Muni was in trouble and what happened to Durvasa Muni finally. So Lord either sends his representatives or he himself comes to protect the devotees. So many like that. Dhruva Maharaj pastime is there. Narayanastra, we have Gajendra pastime, how Lord came. So he will, take charge of delivering such devotees. That is, as long as we are inclined to, keep Krishna in the center and do our prescribed duties according to our ashram, according to our varna. So we are gruhastas in the Krishna conscious. So we have our duties are to look after our family, at the same time do the support the community, support the temple, support brahmachari, support nurses. We have to do that. For that you can make your livelihood, but same thing is make sure you are not hiding. You are trying to offer it to Krishna, all the result of your work, and you engage in that along with your prescribed duties for regulative principles and chanting, following, studying shastras and everything, reading, studying, preaching, teaching others, cultivating others, everything you do, and keep Krishna in the center and do your duties like that in a detached way. No, never attached to any of your activities or results, and then you will attain perfection in life. So whatever occupation you are engaged in, if you serve Supreme Lord, then that will lead to highest perfection, like that. So that is what we need to understand. Worshipping of Supreme Lord with all our energies. So Vaishnavas, we all try to worship the Lord in his internal energy, not external. Like that. Yeah. Any questions anyone has?
Yeah, Mataji, when you say worship the Lord with his internal energy, not external, can you just explain a little more on that?
Yeah, Supreme Lord, in the sense, let's say, what is external energies of the Lord? Any external energies you can say? Like Maya Shakti is external energy of the Lord. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't worship Durga Devi, worship Supreme Lord. Radharani, internal energy of the Lord. That's why we just, when we chant Maha Mantra, we chant, another thing is that you chant Lord and, both Lakshmi Narayana together, Radha Krishna together. And you chant, when you chant Maha Mantra, you are, praying to Srimati Radharani to engage in the service of the Lord. Like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Mata.
Yeah. Any other questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Yeah, surrender and serve Super Soul, Supreme Lord. Not external energy, but internal energy, like that. So all good, Mataji's, Prabhuji's? No questions?
No, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay, so we will stop here then. I'll stop sharing. Just a thing. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Try to see you next week. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Pranam Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Mataji, Lakshmi and Mataji, are you there? Mataji, Lakshmi Anand Mataji.